How they can help Ali and the team that's up here. What do you reckon, Michael?
Yeah, before we do that, Sam, just quickly, there is someone else I do want to intentionally connect you guys to. Seth is here on stage. Seth, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, man? So Seth owns a Dollar Donation Club. He's talking about micro donations and the power of them. And he actually approached me several weeks ago talking about trying to hit a world record in cleaning 1 million pounds of plastic, fish net, particularly plastic, alongside with Ocean Voyages Institute. And he did a huge campaign for Water Day, which was just like last week. So Seth, do you want to maybe just introduce what you guys are working on? I think this is the crew to talk to about it. And Sam, I'd love this idea of bringing up change movers and shakers and change makers and people who want to, cut checks and get this happening, because it's really important. And if we can do it right here, right now, let's do it. Seth, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. And Ali can definitely follow up on the educational resources too, especially in Canada. But yeah, basically we're running a campaign right now to raise money for Ocean Voyages Institute, who broke the world record for the largest ocean plastics, a single mid-ocean plastics cleanup in history in 2020, pulling out 340,000 pounds of ghost nets. Which, as we all know from watching the documentary, kills over around 650,000 marine animals every year. And so this year, aiming to raise about $3 million to remove 1 million pounds of ghost nets from the mid-ocean North Pacific Trash Gyre. And our platform is really designed around shifting from me to we, and that it's not just billionaires who can make big change, but if everybody gives $1 or something small or their version of $1, we can very rapidly spread the message, getting micro donations from a large number of people to actually move the needle on something important. So that's kind of what we're set up to do. And our whole team is pretty impatient people. We like to scan for the best scalable, proven solutions, and then do the storytelling to drive the attention and awareness towards them, and shift from, towards creating a collective philanthropist rather than just focusing on one or two. So I think that's the one powerful, practical action that we can take collectively is give $1 or your version of $1 and invite 2 people at least to do the same. And if we spread that as a chain reaction, we'll be able to fund a world record breaking plastics cleanup this year.
Yeah, go ahead, Ali or Lucy.
Oh no, I was just going to say that's extremely exciting, and as we show in the film, even some of the most remote islands on Earth, like in Henderson Island, and Paul Watson knows all about that. It'd be incredible to do a huge beach cleanup on Henderson Island that we show in the film. But yeah, that all sounds really, really exciting. Ghost nets are a huge problem wherever you are in the world, whether it's the Mediterranean or the Arctic Circle. I read a study today that actually 41% of the plastics on European beaches were fishing nets or fishing related gear. This is a huge problem, and so if we can target it and even maybe work with the industry to, create some kind of, I don't actually know, but some kind of tracking system with these nets, it'd be an incredibly effective. I'm excited to hear more about that.
Totally. And it's, I don't know how expensive real estate is in London or New York, but in Vancouver, I'll tell you $3 million doesn't get you much. And I'm looking at if I had to choose between a subpar house in West Vancouver or removing 1 million pounds of plastic from the ocean, that just seems like a no-brainer. And I wish I was in a position to just cut that check today. Seth, I have donated to your foundation, and Captain Paul, I want to give what I can, and Ali, I want to keep working on press for you guys, but now's the time. We don't have time, so we just got to kind of come together with what we can. And if there's someone in this room who is downsizing a house or wants to make this piece of legacy and clean 1 million pounds of plastic from the ocean, this is the time, and we can actually make some change. So just some ideas to share, and then Salmon, if there's anyone else who wants to get in.
Literally, one second. We're going to go in order. I brought up a bunch of people. Hofit, are you there? Hofit has something that can maybe help.
Yeah, hi guys. I literally just came into this conversation 3 minutes ago, so I think I'm up to speed with what's going on. And forgive me, guys, I just got to London, so my jet lag is kicking my ass. But I'm actually, so this is Hofit, somewhere in the middle there. I'm actually very heavily involved with some of the biggest ocean cleanup charities. I'm one of the 10 global ambassadors for Ocean. I don't know if you guys are aware of them, but if you could DM me, I'll connect you to them. I also sit on the board with Prince Albert of Monaco for his Ocean Gala for the past 3 years, and with Leonardo DiCaprio, I was involved with his foundation for a few years. So I have access to the people that write the big checks, and who are also putting together these big galas, and who have very big assets. Secondly, I have a pretty big Instagram, almost 3 million people, and I have a huge network of other influencers. Happy to connect you to all of them. I'm actually going on a media tour now to film a reef dive in the Maldives, to talk about sustainability and reef regeneration and all that. So I'm actually going with the film crew to Maldives next week, the week after next, and I'll be diving in reefs and doing ocean cleanups. We actually participate in ocean cleanups in Bali, Thailand, sorry, and various parts around the world. So as I said, I just came into this conversation, happy to help. I have extensive contacts in this world, so if I can help, DM me, and if I can add some value and through my social media or my networks or my know-how, I'm happy to help. It's very,
thank you so much.
Important. This is like so important. Without, it's just, if I see any more plastic coming out of the ocean. When I was doing a tour in Belize with the First Lady, and we couldn't walk on the beach because the amount of plastic that was washing up, and this tiny pristine place covered in the waste that was being washed up from all over the world, and you see things that were coming in from Asia. Even in Thailand, we were on the beach in one of the most exclusive islands. It was just waste washing up, and you see all the boating, all the boats overfishing, and all this stuff has bothered me deeply for a very long time, and I'd love to get involved. I'd love to be involved like firsthand. So just DM me.
I appreciate that, Hofit. Thank you.
I mean, we should all be doing it. It's like we
Yeah.
don't have another planet to go to yet, so it's not even like something to appreciate. It's something
And you know
just
what,
have to do.
Salmon,
have a
I just
second home.
realized we have 1,000 people in here they're doing something, and they're giving to charities, and they have a charity, and the people like Hofit that have millions of people connected to them. So I think we could spend all day, everyone talking about what they're working on, or if you guys are okay, maybe let's direct some attention back
just DM me, and
yeah.
you know, like, I don't want to make it about me and what I know. I'll happy to take this offline and get on a call and see if I can add value in the meeting.
Totally. And what I was going to say is all the people that Sam brought up, I mean, everyone kind of take a look on who's here. And guys, let's just DM each other on Instagram. Go and DM Kip if you want to continue supporting his future documentaries. If there will be any more, Kip, that's up to you. And go ahead and message and DM Ali and Lucy to show your support for them. Definitely DM Captain Paul Watson and Omar to show support for Sea Shepherd. They are doing unbelievable work. Like literally, they are modern day heroes. And when you watch the documentary, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, we're definitely here for you, Captain. And if there's anything else you want to share, I know you're heading out, so go ahead.
Well, I think it's important, that we focus on plastic, but let's not forget the oceans are being destroyed by industrialized fishing operations. There's 4 million industrial fishing operations out there, and they are scouring the ocean, literally strip mining the life from the sea. And that, if we're going to address climate change realistically, we have to understand that it's the ocean that regulates climate and temperature. And the ocean is supported by the living things that live in it, the phytoplankton and the fish. So this is not just about saving the fish so that people someday can eat fish. This is about saving the ocean so that we can survive, because this is what's happening. We're seeing a collapsing marine ecosystem worldwide, and it's going to happen soon. And, they're saying 2048, there won't be any fishing industry. I think that's very optimistic. By 2030, everything's collapsing right now. Coral reefs are dying. And it's all, we've got to shut it down. We need at least a 50-year moratorium on industrialized fishing operations, or else we're not going to save the oceans. And all we have is plastic in the oceans in 50 years.
Hey guys, can I jump in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is Anil from all the way down in the conversation. So, to be honest about what we have been talking about here in the conversation so far, to be honest, it's a little bit problematic. I tell you why. So, Seaspiracy and especially Sea Shepherd as an organization are a little bit controversial when it comes to activism and wildlife conservation inside the marine wildlife bio and research and conservation field. And I think there has to be certain questions asked about the organization and also the documentary Seaspiracy that simply haven't been raised at this point. And I just wanted to ask beforehand if I actually might ask these questions, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so maybe to everybody that has been involved in Seaspiracy so far, we did had a couple of conversations before the documentary actually launched in different wildlife conservation groups, and right now the discussion inside marine biologists and marine wildlife conservationists is actually whether Seaspiracy is actually a documentary or it is actually pushing a narrative into a way in order to make less people eat fish. Are you actually doing documentary work, or actually pretty much producing a film to push an agenda that Sea Shepherd is obviously supporting as an organization?
That's enough.
Yeah, well, hold on, Anil, I'll just answer that for you. There are critics that are coming up and starting to ask questions, and I'll be the first to say it's a lot of these PR firms that are hired by these organizations to create some sort of other dialogue. So, I would just say that this industry's been pushing their agendas for the last 3 decades, and this is a documentary that's telling a story. So, again, I don't know if that's necessarily framed to be a proper question. So I'd actually love to move on to another question anyone has.
Yes, please. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Pender, and I keep it very short. I'm co-founder of a nonprofit called Mind Your Footprint, and we've been empowering and educating and empowering children to become eco-warriors. And we work with many organizations around the world, like Eco Schools, WWF, Meat Free Monday, etc., in different places, in States, in UK, in the UK, in Australia. And I would be more than happy to help you to reach to children. So if you would like to speak to children and get them engaged, I would be more than happy to help you, Ali and Lucy.
Yeah, thank you so much for the offer.
Always,
thank you so much for reaching out. Yeah, it's just great to have this information available. And I think growing up, it's something that I wish I knew more about, because it's something I would have taken action on sooner. And so just having information available in a digestible form for young kids is going to be great. It's just making it available and having the conversation there for them to make up their own mind, and that's super important. So feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, sure.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Seth. I'm on the board of a company called Coral Vita, and we're doing ecosystem scale coral reef restoration in the Bahamas right now. The founder's actually on the stage as well. There's one question and one statement. The question is can you discuss at all the way in which indigenous communities have managed to develop sustainable fisheries or regenerative fisheries, and to what extent can indigenous knowledge be integrated into public policy and strategies to sort of transition into a more regenerative sort of ocean economy? That's sort of the question. And the statement is, I think we need to both conserve and restore nature, and we need to start building technology for nature. Nature knows how to heal itself. And what we're doing is, with coral reefs, is sort of able to grow a reef in 6 to 18 months that takes 50 to 70 years to do in nature. And if you look at something like seagrass, and they're a huge source of fish health, obviously, in the baseline of the ecosystem. And if you look at something like seagrass or mangroves or what have you, seagrass makes up 0.2% of the ocean floor and accounts for 10% of the carbon sequestration. And so what I really think the agenda that can complement the sort of individual consumer decisions and our willingness to lobby governments is we need to unleash entrepreneurs to build technology for nature. Even if Joe Biden announced the climate, his climate policy today. And even if we hit the Paris climate goals, we're going to come nowhere close to doing what we need to do to sort of mitigate or let alone reverse climate change. But if we build technology for nature at enough scale for enough ecosystems, the planet is a living planet. It knows how to heal itself. So we need to both conserve and reduce our consumption, but we also need to invest in restoration. And there's lots of, and Coral Vita is an example. Obviously, I'm biased. You can go to coralvita.co or coralvitareefs.com or talk to Sam, who's the founder, on the stage. But there's an opportunity for entrepreneurs and influencers to get behind the restoration economy. And entrepreneurs can build companies to restore ecosystems at scale, because those ecosystems sustain local economies, they put people to work, they provide sustainable fisheries for local communities. In coral reefs case, they reduce wave energy by 97%, and they're a major source of tourism. So you can sort of, to say nothing of the ecological wonder and sort of valuable role they play in local and global ecosystems. So I would love to know about sort of the role of indigenous communities and the indigenous knowledge to contribute to public policy to create sustainable fisheries that people who want to consume fish may be able to benefit from. And then just, my statement on building technology for nature.
This is Paul Watson. Can I address that?
Go ahead.
Please.
Yeah.
For centuries, shamans in the Polynesian communities had this thing called kapu. A bay, for instance, in Bora Bora, they would declare it kapu for 20 years. No fishing in this bay. If anybody was caught fishing, it was a death penalty. People might think, well, that's a little extreme. But they understood this one thing, this one reality. If the fish died, so did the people. They couldn't survive. And so they had very, very strict rules on that. Today, there is no kapu areas anywhere in the world. Rayathon, the fish finding company, they have a motto. The fish can run, but they can't hide. And that's the problem. No kapu areas anywhere in the world. And there is no such thing as sustainable fishery. It does not exist. That word sustainability is just a word to make sure that business goes on as normal. There is no sustainable industrialized fishing. If you're talking about indigenous communities or artisanal fishing in small places like that, yes, that's not the problem. But the problem is industrialized fishing, and it is destroying life in our oceans.
Thanks, Captain.
Yeah.
Just quickly, Ali or Lucy, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'm actually really glad Paul said that. I was going to elect him to tell that line, which is so powerful, was almost in the film. We couldn't have time, so I'm so glad he mentioned the kapu. And obviously, we mentioned in the film the importance of marine ecosystems, from kelp to seagrass to mangrove forests, in coastal defense, carbon sequestration, and habitat. And absolutely, we cover that in the film. And as you know now, one of the leading threats to mangrove forests has been shrimp farming, especially in Indonesia. It's about 38% of all the deforested mangroves has been from shrimp farming. And so anyway, that's what I have to say on that.
Can I just jump in for 1 second, since I'm the coral farmer that was just referenced. Thank you guys so much. From Sea Shepherd to the filmmakers, you guys are absolutely unbelievable. The question earlier in terms of how people can help, I just want to throw out there, I don't have a great way to sort of translate this into fishing yet, but one thing that we're trying to do, I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be a coral farmer. It's absurd my job even has to exist, that we live in a world where coral reefs are dying and we have to restore them. And I saw firsthand, I was in Grand Bahama during Hurricane Dorian, how in addition to the carbon sequestration and fisheries values of mangroves and coral reefs, they literally save people's lives. One of the things that we're trying to do through our work is we have sort of a adopt a coral program, and putting aside helping fund our work, we really think it's a powerful education and storytelling tool to have a larger conversation with folks, right? It's planting a coral is Instagrammable. It's fun. You're having impact. You can even do it if you're on your trip, but then it also lets us have a longer conversation about why corals are dying and why you need to plant that coral and how reefs matters and what we can do not only to restore them, but to protect them, which I think is the ultimate goal of everyone here, is to cut out the threats that are killing these ecosystems. So you guys obviously are amazing storytellers, but just tying in that education piece and then also bringing it back to the world we live in, which often comes back to aligning financial incentives to drive positive action. Just throwing out, thinking about ideas where, we can tie in better fishing practices towards really fun, powerful, personal storytelling tools. So would love to connect with you guys at some point. Thank you for the film and all the work you all are doing.
Thank
May
you,
I
sir.
add something? May I add something to what he just said before? He was saying about technology for the future. That's what we're basically working on for plastic waste. And Rajiv already knows about our project, but it's basically a solution to the plastic waste. And it is the first one to not have any chemicals, any water usage, and no gas emission. So Rajiv already knows about everything. Just wanted to point that out. We're definitely working on the technology for the future.
Awesome, Sarah. Thank you. And again, it's so cool to see. It's like this is such a powerful community. We're all in here. We're all change makers. Lots of activists, lots of people who want to show their support. So, yeah, thank you guys for coming up. Sam, I'm going to pass it over to you. Let's do a reset.
Hey, Mike. Can I jump in here?
Who's that?
It's Eric with the blue.
Well, just real quick, Michael, I just wanted to piggyback off of what Sarah said there, because I've been talking to them for the last few weeks now on this operation that they have going there, and I asked them after I saw the documentary, I was like, these sea nets that are going along there, can their plants actually process and do it? And she got back to me and she said they can actually take the plastic nets and they can process them and recycle them and turn them back into oil and then feed them back into the economies as energy and stuff like that in there too. Very powerful stuff in there. So definitely connect with her if you guys are interested in something like that.
Exactly. It's the first one, as I said, with no gas emissions, no chemicals, no usage of water. It'd be a pleasure if you guys can contact me. Thank you so much.
Awesome, guys. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you for bringing them up, and thanks so much.
Thank you, Rajiv, for the introduction.
Yeah, Sam, maybe you can help me just clear off the stage, and we're just going to do a quick reset here. We are with the whole crew from CEASPIRACY. We're celebrating them hitting #1 on Netflix today for the UK top films. They're also rated top 5 in 40 different countries in the world right now. So, flash your mics, guys. Show some love and support to Ali and Captain and Omar and Kip. They've done some amazing work, and it's just so inspiring as a filmmaker myself, and in my past life pre-COVID. I know what it's like to have a mission and a vision and try and tell your story, and you guys made it look easy, but I know it wasn't. And again, while we just kind of refresh the room, Ali, do you want to just say a couple words, Ali or Lucy, just on your journey? We have a couple hundred people new in the room, and I'd love them to meet you guys and connect with you.
Yeah, we can sort of run through again. Basically, the journey that this film took was one of an exploration of what is the leading threat to our ocean, and really trying to answer that question. And the journey took us from just the coastal beaches where I live, picking up plastic, thinking that could be the biggest threat, to maybe it's whaling happening in Japan, to shark finning. And slowly, as the picture starts to build, patterns start to emerge. The fishing industry was really there, as the leading threat. And so it's really then dives into that and really finds out the greatest impact that it's having. And whether it's the fishing net problem, or its impact on coral reefs, or comparing it to other seemingly human-made environmental disasters, and finding that it's the leading one when it comes to our oceans. Then challenging the organizations that seem to represent ocean conservation and asking them why they aren't talking about the leading threat when it comes to the ocean. I mean, it's really like speaking to someone who specializes in lung cancer and asking them why they don't talk about cigarette smoking. It really is that much of a comparison, because the impact that it's having is undeniable. And to find organizations even today that still aren't acknowledging this raises some questions. And this leads us down a path of understanding what sustainable fishing really means, to find that the definition really is quite meaningless in many ways, and doesn't really have a lot of substance. And so the journey just goes on this exploration of what's happening to our seas, and we come to a lot of incredible revelations.
I have a question.
Can I add something with actually Captain Paul was saying? There's a question before about the indigenous, and because we've got asked that question all since ClubHouseProject and now CEASPIRACY, if there's such thing as things for sustainable fishing for the indigenous. If you're listening to this Clubhouse, if anyone sees Netflix, then there's no such thing as eating anything fish sustainably. And so they say about about these indigenous tribes. Well, then just promote not eating fish, because there's no such thing as sustainable fishing for the general population majority. And these tribes and these indigenous people that do live on the coast, let them. But there's no such thing as sustainable fishing for anyone in this technological realm that has, these. We're on Clubhouse or Netflix. So if you can see the film on Netflix, if you can hear anything on social media, anything, for the message for you is that there's no such thing as sustainable fishing, and to please promote, especially if you're doing this incredible work with cleaning up plastic, please be aligned with that. And it's not like trying to find alternatives for indigenous. It's let them just do what they've done for thousands of years, and we're not, targeting them per se. And just, as Paul says, let the fish, let the ocean alone, let the indigenous people alone, let them do the work.
Thank you, Kip. I appreciate that. Captain, did you have something to add to that?
No, I agree with that completely. And, it's implied you're not going to wipe out fishing. There are communities around the world that do depend upon it. But what I'm talking about are these $100 million industrialized fishing operations, these ships that, they go out there and they owe incredible amounts of money to the banks, and therefore they have to catch more and more fish to pay off those bank loans. And really what it is it's short-term investment for short-term gain. They don't really care about the future, because scarcity translates into profits. And once they've extracted the maximum amount of profits from a particular fishery, they can go on to something else. Mitsubishi, for instance, is involved in fishing. They don't need to be, but they've invested in it. They've got probably 10 years supply of bluefin tuna in their warehouses that, if they stop fishing today, they could still supply their so-called market. But they won't do that, because if the bluefin tuna populations rise, the value of the commodity in their warehouses goes down. And if it goes extinct, they're actually investing in extinction. If it goes extinct, then the commodity is priceless. And then they just go on to something else. That's the way it's working. It's the economics and politics of extinction is what is driving this.
Hey, Mike,
comment.
I've got a question here, Eric.
Yeah, go on.
Down at the bottom.
Go ahead. Eric.
Yeah. So I, by no means, am an expert on this subject, but it's something that I've been actively learning about. And when we're talking about solutions, one thing that I haven't heard mentioned, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I missed it, is regenerative ocean farming. So I'm talking about switching to more of a diet based around sea vegetables, which sequester carbon, and shellfish, mussels, clams, oysters, and scallops, which filter nitrogen out of the water, the nitrogen that many of the fertilizers that we use today seep into the water. These things thrive and grow. Also, there's zero input farming. So if we had an ocean farm the size of Washington, or if we farmed an area of the ocean the size of Washington, we could produce enough food using zero input to feed the entire world. Is that something that you guys have thought a lot about? And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. Thank you. This is Eric Elder, and I'm done speaking.
Yeah, happy to contribute on that. Yeah, so the oyster issue is actually really interesting. Like just a 2-inch wide oyster can fill to something like 50 gallons of water a day. These are incredible, they provide incredible ecological services, and they can actually clean up a lot of the waterways and the coastal areas. And they can be implemented to actually clean up reservoirs, and it's really a powerful thing to do, along with the cultivation of marine plants. The only issue with the consumption of these filter feeding marine animals is that they do, for all the stuff they clean out of the ocean, it's got to go somewhere, and so it's inside the flesh of these animals sometimes. And so in the UK, I believe there was a study on the amount of microplastics that you find in the oysters and mussels around here, and there's some concerns about those kinds of health impacts. But yeah, it is a question. We tried to include it in the film. There wasn't any time. But the marine plant farming is extremely exciting. It's actually something that I've tried to see if I can do a project on. And the working title for this project, which I'm thinking of launching maybe this year, is called Kelp the Ocean. And it's one of the ways we can actually help job alternatives for fishermen to transition to a more plant-based economy, and provide human food, you can create fertilizers, you can create truly bioplastics from kelp and certain other seaweeds. And so there's huge amounts of potential in that sector. And it's going to be really exciting to actually provide job alternatives for fishermen who have either run out of fish or the demand is going down. So it's a really exciting space.
Yes,
Hey, Ali.
I just want to say, Ali, Lucy, do not stop making films. Guys, flash your mics if you want to support these two continuing to make some movies, some magic, and get Kip's involvement and everyone's involvement. You guys are on fire, and anything you do next, we have your back 1,000%. So please keep filming. I love it. Any other questions, guys?
I have a question. This is Jeremy
here. I just want to ask Ali and the crew here. Damn, where the hell my thought go? I had such a good question. Michael, go back to you.
Maybe someone else.
Yeah, I have a question. This is Jeremy
King.
Yeah, first of all, Captain Paul Watson, good to see you on the stage here. You and I met through Cyril Gooch at Parlay and COP21. And you said something to me back then, which I think resonates now, is that, you said back then there's no sustainable way to eat fish from the ocean. It's incredibly important. But it also is important that you also told me that the most dangerous thing that you can have is a camera. And I agree with that. I will add that the most dangerous thing we can have today is camera and data, which is one of the reasons why you well know that I created autonomous tools to intercept and stop illegal fishing operators at sea with these robots that we've built. And so this is something that's been very near to my heart. And I was very excited to see the film. And I feel like, it's the one real good thing about this film is it really does tell the story of why we need to stop industrial fishing. It's super important. But I also do know that like some of the things that were in the film too, I was curious about, like the issue with plastic pollution coalition. Can you maybe tell me a little bit about why kind of the animosity to those guys, because they've done some really great stuff, and I know Captain Paul Watson, you work with them, so maybe Ali, if you could kind of clarify, because I was not able to find out that they were actually funded by fisheries.
Yeah, happy to talk to that. And as I said in the film, that they're one of my favorite groups, and there was no animosity walking into the interview. It was more just so I could learn about what they were doing and if there was any reason behind why fishing nets weren't, front and center, if not at least part of something on the website of something we can take action on. Since although the study is 46% of plastic is fishing nets in the Great Pacific Gyre, and there's other studies even that suggest that 70% of all macroplastics in the ocean could be coming from fishing gear. It was just a question of why that wasn't part of the discussion. It could have been a genuine answer. It could have been, well, we don't feel like it's a win campaign. It could have been this, could have been that. But one of the members said that, well, actually, it is a really big issue, or at least that, yes, it is a majority. And one of the best things that we can do is to reduce or eliminate marine life consumption, and that will help populations rebound, and it will mean less gear in the ocean fishing it out. And then the question just naturally led to, how come that wouldn't be on the website? And then they suggested that we speak to their founder, who we asked the same question to, and we couldn't really get an answer from, and ended up wanting to stop the interview. So there was no animosity really, like from us. Like, we're, again, as we said right at the beginning of the call, we're not like these confrontational people. We're just wanting to ask the basic questions really about the leading threat to our ocean. And so that's how the interview went. We weren't expecting it, and same with the Earth Island Institute as well. So maybe part of it was because we don't really, it was just two of us using really two small cameras, and maybe they didn't take us seriously or something. But yeah, there's no animosity really coming from our hearts. Like, we support all efforts to try and improve the ocean and conservation. And it is just a bit of a shock to me why we're not talking about the leading threat when it comes to this.
That is bizarre, Ali. I think it's so bizarre that they can't add one thing on that website, which is, you were trying to go with normal common sense. If fishing is the biggest issue and fishing nets is another big issue, then have this on your website as the leading causes. And for me, that was crazy as well. And I I'm sorry I cut off Paul Watson, but my question was also related to this. After the documentary, what have these companies changed? Have you seen some change? Have people come to you and said, you know what, actually you're right, you know what, we need to be saying that the issue is fishing, you're right, we need to try and get rid of these fishing nets? So has any of that happened as well? And sorry, Captain Paul, I think I cut you off.
All I was going to say was that I don't think I ever said that the camera is the most dangerous thing. What I said was that the most powerful weapon we have on this planet is the camera. And, it's a tool, and it's not to be considered dangerous. It's to be considered probably the most effective thing you can have in your hand.
I'm happy to continue on that as well. So, and this is the thing, we are a passionate, dedicated bunch of filmmakers and passionate ocean conservationists, but we're also a bunch of friendly people as well. And honestly, we were kind of just expecting that, maybe some of these groups, whether it be Oceana or Plastic Pollution Coalition, to go, oh yeah, you know what, that's a really great point. I can't believe we haven't put it on our website. That will literally take us 10 seconds to do. Great point, thank you very much. And then it'd be over. And it was honestly a shock to me, a huge shock that wasn't the response that we got. And that's what led me to just try and find out why and if there's any other connections. And so we're still waiting. If these groups want to reach out to us and say, hey, we've since acknowledged the leading contributor of plastic in many parts of the world as a plastic group, or any other of the organizations we're going to welcome that. And I don't, Lucy, do you want to add anything?
I think the point was just to make it part of the discussion. You just want it to be on the radar, I think, and that was the big thing. You don't necessarily even want, if these groups want to focus elsewhere, it just needs to be on there as well, like as part of the agenda, but it feels like it's intentionally being left out. And I also just want to add that, there are so many organizations out there who aren't addressing this, who didn't appear in the film, but these were just the ones that, were kind enough to do an interview. So, it's just...
Absolutely. And so, it comes back down to my analogy again. If you're a lung cancer specialist, and sorry to use this analogy, but you'd want to be talking about cigarette smoking as part of this problem. And so if these are organizations that are interested in tackling plastic pollution and yet not talking about one of the leading causes of it in our ocean, then something just seemed off to me.
Has any conversations come from this, Ali? You mentioned you're still waiting back for some people, but I would have thought, a documentary like this, if I was the head of one of these charities, I'd be straight to you and say, you know what, we're going to make this change, or we're gonna at least reach out to you and see, okay, what is the research you've done, what have you done, and how can we potentially make changes? That would be the first thing I'd be looking at.
Yeah, well, we have an open invitation if anyone wants to reach out to us. It has been a whirlwind in the past 5 or 6 days or a week since the launch, and but from all we've seen so far from the groups is a doubling down on their message, whether it be the MSC, Oceana, Othel Land Institute. They're all doubling down on their message, trying to say that maybe fishing nets is less of a problem than we made out in the film, which it's not, or that we mistook things out of context, which we didn't, and not even, and some of the sustainability claims not defining what sustainability actually means. And so there hasn't really been much to really work with. But again, we're open. If someone wants to say, hey, you know what, you're right, we're going to put it on our website, we'll be the first to share it on our social media.
Yeah, I just want to add in, Ali, I think coming from a PR background, the reason is because right now they're just reacting to the video. They're reacting to the film. I think to change their whole mission statement, these are big companies. They're big ships. When a cruise ship changes course, it changes one knot at a time. You guys are a little dinghy. You got 5-6 people. You can move around quickly. You can film quickly. So I think they will change over time, especially as millions of people pour in and watch this film. I think that's going to change. And you guys, I believe you have made systematic change. And if you guys, support me, tap your microphone. And if you agree that what we witnessed on Netflix is very important. And so I just want to commend you guys for that. Omar, did you have anything you wanted to add from previous statements? Are you still here? Okay. I think Omar's, I don't know if he's here.
No, I'm still here. I just
go
want,
ahead, Omar.
And it keeps coming up that we're members of the Plastics Pollution Coalition, but as far as we know, we're not. Paul might mention that as well. Paul?
No, I don't think we are.
Yeah, I don't think we are either. And they've put it out on a few social media things, but it certainly had me and Paul scratching our heads, and we're asking around, but we don't know. We don't think we are.
I was curious to ask Ellie. Actually, my main question after that segment of the film was just to follow up on what did you actually find? The kind of implication of the film is that they're the same organization as Earth Island. I was curious if you did find kind of a proven direct connection there, or if they've commented on that, or if you did find kind of a concrete money trail.
Great question. We try our absolute best to try and find some sort of transparency in this, and all we could find is basically on the donation page. You'll find that if you try to donate to the Plastic Pollution Coalition, you'll see in small print that the Plastic Pollution Coalition is a project of the Earth Island Institute. So essentially, the donations go straight to the Earth Island Institute, which are and that's what it says on the website, which is the charity or group that is in charge of handing out the dolphin safe tuna labels, which, if I can speak bluntly, kind of shot themselves in the foot in the way they spoke about it, and they admitted to taking bribes, and that no one can guarantee that things are dolphin safe, and that the observers aren't at sea. And so really they kind of work with the fishing industry with these labels, and what those labels essentially do is encourage more fish consumption. People feel good about it, or I certainly did when I picked up that can of tuna in the supermarket with a dolphin safe thing on it. It makes me want to buy more of it. It makes me want to continue again and again because I feel good about it. And so it was really hard to find more information out. However, I will say, since the release of the film, we've been reached out to by some of the fishing monitors on these dolphin-safe boats who are willing to speak out against what the Earth Island Institute have actually been up to in the past, and give more information about what actually happens on these dolphin-safe boats.
Wow. If I could just add one thing, it's a statistic, is that since 1970, about 35 million dolphins have died in tuna nets. 35 million. That's unforgivable.
I don't know if anyone wants to jump in on that, but yeah, absolutely echo that point as well. This is unforgivable, and what they're doing, as Rico Barry in the film said, who even worked for the group, it's fraud. You can't, if this produce label that said we are completely GMO free or we are organic, and then you find out that either it has GMOs or maybe it's 50% organic, it wouldn't stand. You can't do that. You can't do that with gluten or lactose. These are allergens, right? So what the label should say is, we cannot guarantee that this is dolphin safe, right? So there's some serious, questions to be raised about the legitimacy of these labels.
And what we need is actually a tuna safe label. Nobody talks about what's happening to the tuna populations, and they're collapsing.
Absolutely. And so the best dolphin safe tuna and tuna safe tuna would be to move towards plant-based alternatives for those things.
Ollie.
Oh. Go ahead. I was just going to say, Omar, I think we got Gary in the house. Do you want to give an intro? Omar, if you're around, I think Gary is here from...
I'm around, sorry.
When
you message me, I'm always typing. I haven't got the app. Talking to everybody else. Yes, so Gary Stokes from Oceans Asia is here. He just come in, so I suggested he come up and have a few words as well. He was in the documentary, and of course he specialises in the area of Hong Kong, and particularly with shark finning and the issues. He actually used to work with Sea Shepherd as well for a number of years before he branched out to his own organisation. So Gary, if you're here, please introduce yourself.
Hey, yeah, guys. Just waking up in Hong Kong, so great news as well. Well done, Ali and team. Number one over here as well. So yeah, just literally just tuned in. Good to hear you, Paul.
No worries, Gary. Welcome to Clubhouse. See your little party hat as well. It's nice to see the whole crew up here. Does anyone have any questions for anyone here in the cast, or for Ali and Lucy?
I just have a follow-up question about the Earth Island stuff. Is it possible that the Earth Island Institute was just a fiscal sponsor for all these companies?
What do you mean by sponsor to what companies?
A fiscal sponsor, right? So like if, for instance, if I was, receiving money from a foundation, but I wasn't a nonprofit, it would have to go through a fiscal sponsor in order for them to get their deduction. This happens time and time again. best I can tell, I mean, I'm definitely not at the level of everybody here, but it seems like what their business is, they're in the business of being a fiscal sponsor. Maybe you can confirm that.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. I can't confirm that. I don't know that. We couldn't find that information out, and it would only be speculation for me to say anything other than that. The point is that all that you can come to a conclusion on, which is again just speculation, is these companies work with the fishing industry, perhaps, and maybe there's some toes that might get stepped on if fishing nets were mentioned in the plastic campaigns, but we don't know that for certain. But that doesn't negate from the fact that as a standalone issue, we have to be talking about fishing nets when we're or fishing gear when it comes to clearing up plastic. But I wasn't able to find anything out other than that.
Yeah, no, full stop. I mean, I think the number one thing, I think all of us, and I think, Captain Paul, you probably agree with me on this as well, is that a rising tide floats all boats. And we really need to figure out as an ocean community, how do we all unite together? Because we have a very short amount of time to figure this out. We have probably less than 7 years if we're lucky. And, I just worry about some of this information because, I'm afraid that it from the public's perspective, when things don't completely add up, does it look like we're all, goofing around? And, it loses hope. I think Dr. Sylvia Earle says it best. She says, we need hope because when we don't have hope, the only thing that's left to fill our hearts is apathy. And that's the one thing I'm most afraid of.
Thanks, Jeremy. This is Elise. I just wanted to address that very quickly and then
one
move on.
second. 1 second,
Yeah.
Alyssa. I just want to say hello to Grant and thank you for coming in to support the cause. Grant is one of the influencers on the platform and, he's given his time to literally blast it to all his audience. So just want to say thank you, Grant, for that. Hats off to you. Grant, have you watched the Netflix documentary at the moment?
I haven't, but I will tonight.
Yeah, so we've got the directors here, Ali, and we've got Cease Shepherd, some of the crew from there.
I can do a full.
Yeah,
full
go on,
research
Michael.
on it. So Grant, we watched the documentary earlier this week and thought now's the time to really spread the awareness. Seaspiracy just hit #1 in the UK, top films on Netflix. They're also top 5 in 40 different countries right now. I think they're only about 7 days old. We got Kip Anderson here, who's the producer of ClubHouse, and he hopped on and helped out. We got Ali and Lucy, the directors, who spent the last several years putting it together. And we got the whole crew, Captain Paul Watson and Omar from Sea Shepherd. They're an unbelievable volunteer organization going around the world, exposing illegal fishing. And we just got the whole crew here, and we're celebrating their viral success, and we're making sure that we can continue the support because I don't want to stop momentum. I mean, if there's anything we learn from the oceans, it's the power of momentum, and I think we can really drive things forward here with awareness of this film. So if anyone wants to take it from here.
I think Elise was about to jump in with a follow-up on Jeremy's question.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. And great job, Kip and Captain Watson. It's been a while. But I just wanted to point out that even as a fiscal sponsor, the fiscal sponsor has fiduciary oversight of the group that they're sponsoring. So I want to point that out. It's not that they're, even if it is a fiscal sponsor, it does have a relationship and it does have oversight. And I also wanted to point out Dr. Sylvia Earle. Jeremy, I'm so glad you mentioned her, and I agree about the cooperation. And she's also been saying that it's sea life, not seafood, for years. So if some of you want to check out Mission Blue, which was made several years ago on Netflix, she says it there too. And she's been pretty consistent with that message. So thanks, guys. I'm just really happy to see you all here. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. And hey, Ali and Lucy, I know it's getting late. It's past midnight over there in the UK. I just wanted to check in. There's about 1,300 people tuned in right now. But I wanted to be respectful of your time and just see how you guys are doing. On time, do you have some more time or should we wrap things up here?
I'd say we'd have about another 5 minutes between Lucy and I to just answer anything else last minute.
Sure, then let's do that. Any final questions, guys, for Ali or
Yo,
anyone?
I got a question. How can we help you guys other than watch the documentary? How can we help you do what you want to do?
Yeah, hi Grant, it's Surreal speaking to you. I've known about you for a while. So we are putting together a team now to deal with the overwhelming response that the film's had. We really weren't expecting the film to be top 1 in several countries, and now top 5 in about almost 50 countries. And so really it's just putting together a team to continue this investigative work in ocean conservation, put together a media team, get more filmmakers involved, content creation, and just reach out to schools, create campaigns. We have the truth on our side, and it's been such a powerful thing to have, a powerful, powerful asset. And we have the world's attention right now, and we can create some real major change with some organization, some structure, some funding, so we can really hit the ground running from now on.
Love it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Grant, for that question. And I'm sure you guys can always connect as well on Instagram. Any other final questions for Ali and Lucy here?
Hey, Michael, this is Adam Roa. I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Ali, Lucy, thank you so much for making this film. And I actually, just on a very human level, with being so exposed to some of the darkest aspects of what's going on with our oceans, I'm genuinely curious if you remain optimistic or pessimistic about the future of not just the oceans, but I would say just collectively what we're doing with this planet, and what the reasons are, if it is optimism, what the reasons you have that keep you optimistic, so that we can all leave here with that and that feeling. This is Adam, I'm speaking.
For sure. Thank you very much, Adam. Lucy, did you want any comments on that one?
I think especially when you get involved in the darker side of what's happening to our planet, it can be really easy to get lost in despair, apathy. But one thing I will say about the oceans, which was mentioned at the end of the film, is that when oceans are given the chance to bounce back, they really bounce back well. They're really good at just restoring, and so there is real hope, especially when we've just seen this huge response. People do care, people want to help, people keep saying, what can I do to help? So there's just there is huge opportunity here.
Absolutely, and I want to mirror that as well. We entered this project in confusion about what the problem was, this seemingly disconnected global problem that no one could seem to solve after 30 years of environmental action.
Oh, Ali, we're losing you a bit.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, after decades of a lot of environmental organizations with hundreds of millions of dollars behind them, they are doing some good, but there was no coherent narrative about what we can actually do to save the ocean. And so we started in that, not knowing what the solution was. And I did start the film with pessimism and a lack of hope. But actually by the end of it, after understanding what's happening, I actually gained a lot of hope and faith and optimism, because I then realized how simple these solutions are and how practical they are to enforce. And now we have it. It's in the film. It's on our website. It's very, very simple. And that's given me huge amounts of hope moving forward.
Just a last thing with that. I can't talk to specific cases, but I do know that there have been areas of ocean that have been protected and they have bounced back magnificently. So it is out there. Maybe it'd be a good idea to share some of these success stories of oceans rebounding, because it's amazing.
As Sylvia L puts it, these hope spots that we need to protect from fishing and the marine life just come back.
Palau's a good example of that.
Hey, real quick, Ali, this is William Andre. I'm not sure if you have any trailers for this project, and I have a couple of media companies that I own. We run trailers for Fox and Marvel, and I'd like to extend that opportunity to you to help you get more eyeballs on this project. So if you do, I've already DM'd you, but I just wanted to let you know if you do, I'd be happy to assist in that.
Thank you very much, William. I'm excited to connect with you off of here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you're among superheroes here, guys. Everyone has their own talents, and I just urge everyone, first off, if you haven't seen the film, go and watch it. Do it tonight. And, if you feel moved by the film, inspired by the film, share it on social media. Let everyone else get a chance to learn about it and watch it. And, guys, Ali, I would say just, keep picking up the camera. You and Lucy, all you can do is like the captain said, that is your greatest weapon, is that camera. And you guys have this unbelievable way of telling the story, and Kip as well with what you've done with ClubHouseProject and the whole team. You guys, you just did some very important work. I'd sleep well tonight knowing, of course, you're going to wake up to 6,000 emails and 100 million messages and, you know, companies coming to bash you and threaten you and all that stuff. But you know what? You guys have done some important work, and you're bending humanity in the right direction, and that's all any of us can ask for. I'm watching the negative press come in, and I want to help bury it with positive press. So I've reached out to the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. I'm going to help you guys get some positive publications and just continue telling this story. And I'll do what I can. And I know there's a lot of people here on stage and in the audience who have their own things they can offer. So
Yeah, I'll partner with you on that, Michael.
yeah, amazing, Dave. Let's do it. And
Yeah, we'll talk offline about that.
Yeah,
Michael, can I quickly introduce to you someone before they go? Someone extremely relevant, a very dear friend of mine who's doing a lot of this work independently for quite some time. I'll let her introduce herself and explain. Natalie, if you can unmute for a second and introduce, I think you guys can also get great benefit from her. My dear friend, Natalie Lefebvre.
Yeah, Natalie, I can see. Are you here, Natalie? Oh.
Natalie, unmute yourself.
It's okay, Hofit. I just want to be respectful for their time. So maybe Natalie, if you're here.
There we go. I just did it. Hi.
Hi. Yeah,
Hi.
I mean, Natalie, I'd love to get your help here. You're a brand expert, social media strategist. So let's work
Just
together.
give her like one quick second and she'll explain
Yeah, go ahead.
the
Of course.
specific
Go ahead,
reason
Natalie.
why I
Go
brought
ahead.
her.
Okay. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I have a social media agency, Eagle Eye View. My background is media. I help brands grow their profiles, audience awareness, and curating the right trending content. I also have a travel brand, Island Natalie, with over 1 million followers. And after many travels and being born in the Seychelles Islands on the beach, I noticed that, plastic pollution is a real big problem. I've seen the overfishing of our oceans. I've seen, Chinese vessels coming in without paying and taking everything, cutting the shark fins off and dumping the sharks into our oceans. So I have an NGO. We're going after the root of the source, which are the rivers, the waterfalls that are polluted that then lead into the oceans. I'm friends with like Craig Leeson from Plastic Ocean, and the microplastics are killing our corals. A lot of people don't know that, they're also like eating that and dying. And I think with the coral bleaching, I've actually been a part of the Coral Live with World Oceans Day, regenerating the coral with a marine accretion technology. I do think it's a serious, serious problem. I think anybody that's involved in helping protect our oceans, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to get involved with projects. I've helped Beneath the Waves recently. We went shark tagging. Dr. Austin Gallagher is doing amazing work with some marine biologists and scientists to help protect sharks, and they are endangered species, and the sharks have actually led them to many amazing discoveries, and you're able to see how they're moving, track them over the next 2 years. So I like to get involved with things I'm passionate about, which are the oceans, plastic pollution, or sharks, and trying to help curate the right kind of content, create awareness. I'm also in the Climate Change Forum. You guys are welcome to reach out. I'd love to be a part of anything. Yeah.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much, and welcome to the stage. And you know what, guys, I want to be very clear. I mean, I'm not being compensated in any way for doing this. I reached out to Ali and Lucy directly and offered to bring them here. Samit and a bunch of other mods here jumped on stage. And to answer the question is, I don't think this should be financially driven. I think we have no chance standing up against some of these big firms if it is financially driven. I think we all need to pitch in with whatever we can do, whether it's services or funding or whatever it takes. Who cares about your business? This has nothing to do with your business. This is trying to bend humanity in the right direction. This is trying to help our kids, our grandkids. We're at a crossroads right now. I think we can all feel it. And Ali and Lucy exposed it in such a beautiful way. So just go ahead and do it. There's nothing stopping you from going and helping them and their movement in any way that you can. So just start today, start now, and let's show these guys our support. Ali and Lucy, any final words you guys want to share?
No, I just want to thank you for inviting us onto this. This is our first Clubhouse. We had no idea how it works, and just to be connected to all of you incredible people, it's been a pleasure. And as I said, we're doing this from the heart, from the passion, and we're ready to move forward with this huge campaign. I'm looking forward to connecting with as many of you on Instagram as possible, see where we can go. So, Lucy, is there anything else?
I just second everything you just said, basically.
Thanks so much, and yeah, it's getting pretty late here, so we'll leave here. But yeah, feel free to drop me a DM if you want to reach out.
Love it, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. I know things are so busy and hectic, and for you guys to spend this many hours with us, we really appreciate it. So, guys, reach out to Ali and Lucy. They're at CEASPIRACY on Instagram. Lucy's account is also tagged here. Ali's account, you can find them online. It's all over my account and Samit's and everyone else here on stage. So you can find them. Is Kip Anderson, are you still here with us?
Yeah, I'm here, but I got to take off here soon for another meeting. But
yeah, no worries. Any final statements you want to say?
Thank you so much. Just there's so inspiring to hear all these powerful people talk and all the great work that everyone does. Just please, everyone who's listening to this, all the good work that you're doing, especially for the oceans, just please align it with promoting to not eat marine life, to not eat fish. And it's not the last step, but it's the first step. It'll make your job, your nonprofit NGO's job to protect the ocean so much easier if we just start with that. And other than that, thank you so much.
Hey, Kip, after watching that documentary, I was watching at the very end about the algae shrimp. Oh my God, it looks so good. I got to order some of that.
Yeah, it was good. It was weird to eat shrimp for the first time in 7 years. I was like, did I even really ever like shrimp? Because it's like such a weird taste. But it was really good, though.
Amazing, Kip. I love it, man. Just so simple. Just such simple things you can do. I appreciate it. And then Captain Paul, if you're still with us, any final statements?
Yeah, I'd like to see that we look at the life in the ocean in a different way, not as food, but as crew members that keep the machinery of the life support system of Spaceship Earth going. And we have to stop killing the crew. And that's what we've doing, because you can only kill so many crew members until the machinery begins to break down and the life support system isn't capable of producing oxygen from the phytoplankton or regulating climate and temperature. And I think that's how we really need to see it. And we need the life in the ocean if we're going to survive, because if we don't, as I say all the time, if the ocean dies, we all die.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Captain. Again, a simple message, but I appreciate that so much. Omar, are you still with us? Any final words?
Yes, I'm still here. No, well, I'll just reinforce what the captain said there. But if anyone wants to do interviews or reach out to Captain Paul or Sea Shepherd, please DM myself. I handle all of that. So happy to continue discussing. And it was our first proper clubhouse too, really. So we appreciate you guys inviting us along, and we'll be back to some more, I'm sure.
It's our honor. Thank you so much.
Snowballing and the fact that it's gone mainstream has the amount of private messages I've been receiving from the weirdest people that I never would have thought would say, that's it, I'm done with seafood. It's just been so encouraging. It sort of negates any of the negative press that we've been seeing, which has been pretty fruitless. So yeah, just amazing work, everybody, and we'll keep on. And it's definitely given more hope, I think.
I love it, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time and your energy. You put together a masterpiece. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone who hasn't seen it, go download Seaspiracy tonight on Netflix. Watch it. Grab some friends. Grab some family members. Share it on all your social media. When you watch this film, you understand why we care so much and why we're making so much noise about this. It's really worth our time to really just, again, keep the momentum going. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Samit or anyone else here wanted to say some final messages, and then we'll close the room.
Hey guys, an easy thing to do for everybody before you even watch the show, I've already done this. Just take a picture of what Ollie's got on his, I guess that's the cover of the show. Grab it off the internet, throw it in your storyline, and tell people to watch the show tonight. 1,300 people watch this show tonight. Whether you watch it or not, doesn't matter. then what happens? Enough people start. It gets momentum and free press and omnipresence that can't be resisted. So I've already done that on my story.
Oh, Grant, I just want to say thank you for that, for actually saying that. It's absolutely true. We've had so much positive response from people sharing it. So if we can ask one small favor is, let's get the film to #1 in more than currently it's 5 countries. Let's get every country as far as close to that as possible. So Grant, thank you so much for sharing that in your stories. It's going to be a big help reaching your community and your tribe. So thank you very much.
Closing remarks from me is, I just want to thank everyone that's been a part of this. I know you could have been anywhere else, but it's just so great, and again shows the power of Clubhouse. Just amazing people that have joined together. Grant, again, I think every single time we connect, you've gone up again and in another level in my mind for just coming in and supporting us, when other people haven't come in and supported us. So, I just want to again say thank you very much. I want to say thank you to every single person that's on stage, all the audience members that have come in and supported this, really means a lot. And, I think it's just such a big issue that we shouldn't ignore. So that's my statement.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Michael, Ollie. Appreciate you guys, everyone on here. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys have the most amazing message, and I'm going to also share across my whole entire network as well on Instagram and make sure it's spread throughout. So thank you so much.
And guys, this is just the beginning, so let's all move ahead from here. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we're going to shut this down. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in the club.